Mark, third and fourth pre-season games for you. We'll talk more about the second game a little later, but for the first, happy with what you saw?
Very much. I think across both games, quite pleased with that. What we needed to do today was try to get up to 70 minutes. We've only got 45 so far. We wanted to do 60 at Cardiff, but we could only get 45. So to go that jump to 70 minutes was important for us to get that just physically, really. We're 4 weeks in now. Lads have worked really hard, so it's never easy, is it, when it's as hot as this? But I thought the playing surface was good. It gets dry, obviously, so that's tough. But they've looked after us really well here, so we're grateful to St Neots for putting the game on. Nice to see a few faces, and I thought game one was good. Played some good football. I thought all afternoon we scored some excellent goals, had some good attacking play at times. And we were pleased with the opposition that we played, because we know they play in a way that they try to build the game up deep in the pitch, which is quite common for a lot of teams in our league. So it just allows us to work a little bit on when and how we press, and when and how we counter-attack, and then when and how we bring control ourselves. And there were moments of good and bad in both games in those areas, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, it probably a very different test to the first two games against Watford and Cardiff, when they probably took the game to you a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, those first few games, I mean, you could play anyone. You ain't got a clue what it looks like. You're literally just asking boys to run around for 45 minutes. So everyone's in different spots in pre-season. You've got nothing to compare yourself against. You have no idea what the other teams have been doing all week, how many times they've trained, whether they're into the game tired or not. And everyone's rotating teams and players and putting different people together. So you can't really judge the games too much. But I think from our point of view, just to put two teams together again and gradually build those minutes up. We've had a brilliant week in Cardiff that ended in the game. Then we worked really hard. Tuesday, Wednesday, lads were class. Thursday they had off. Friday was really light, so that we left plenty in them today, and they worked really hard today. So overall, they're in a good position going into week 5, 2 weeks now before the first game, against some tough teams in the early part of the season. But hopefully the pre-season sets us up well for it.
Yeah, the 2 goals from Sam Smith in the first game, after brilliant passes, one from Lewis Simber, I thought had a fantastic game actually, and one through from Paul Digby, and so both finished well. It's encouraging for you to see the players looking so sharp, Mark.
Yeah, we had a few good counter-attacking situations, and some that we didn't use so well in the first half, and then second half I thought we regained the ball well against a team that build and allow you that opportunity to do that, because they don't play beyond you and behind you too often. But good regain, good through pass. The first goal was excellent from Sam. Really good forward, unselfish run from Bros that drags people out the way. We're committing to those forward runs quite well, and the wide players and forwards have been doing that very well actually throughout the last month now. But he took his goals well, Sam. Came close, header disallowed in the first half of that game as well, which was close. Brophy had a chance. He should take the shot on rather than try to delay, but we had a couple of good moments like that where we might have added a little bit more to the game, but Sam took his goals well, and I agree with you. I thought Lewis Simper played really well today as well, among a few others, but what a nice control to the game with the ball, and it was a good football match really.
Yeah, similarly the first half of the second game, 2 early goals from Harvey Nibbs again, looking very sharp. The first through ball from Joe Tarpey, United fans probably won't know a lot about, Mark.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, he'll be at St Neots this season with these boys here, but he's obviously with Liam Bennett not being with us at the moment, it's been brilliant for him to have the last couple of weeks playing in the games that he's played in. Been brilliant exposure to him, to our environment, and he's coped with that well. And he had a cross that set up Nibsy for a header in Cardiff, and then a ball in behind them today that we took well. Nibsy, great finish again. Joey, hard run to goal in case of a rebound. So really pleased with that one. Nibsy's playing really well at the moment as well. The forward players are looking sharp and fast, and I thought there's some good situations in that part as well. And in the end, we were quite dominant in that game, and they had a lot of the ball deep in the pitch. Didn't really play forwards too often. It allowed us to get a good press on the ball, lots of regains, and we had pretty much full control of that, apart from a 5-minute wacky period in the second half when I think we got bored of doing things properly, and then we got punished for it really. So a bit of switched off really from making good decisions. So lads will be frustrated with that for the weekend now, because we should never lose the game. Not that it really matters deep down, but of course it does, because everyone wants to win every time they play.
I was going to say it should have been 3. Harvey should have got his hat-trick. Chance for Joe as well. Perhaps could have been 4-0, but I would imagine it irritates you just a little bit to lose that one.
Yeah, it does a bit really. I mean, it shouldn't, but it does a bit, and it will do to the lads more than anything. But in the main, it doesn't really matter how good or bad we are in July. It matters what it's like when the season starts. So the part of these games is get fit, try and get better at the things we're doing, and when the real competition starts, be ready for it. So that's what we're ramping up for now, and looking forward to that as we go into a couple of tough games next week.
Yeah, I'd imagine the 2 70-minute games. I mean, it's a good format. It allows you to play pretty much everyone in the squad, and they all get good match minutes under their belts.
Yeah, it's just long for the rest of us, isn't it? Lads can go home and only come for one game, and we're in that greenhouse of a dugout for the whole game, and you boys are watching it all afternoon. Any supporters that stuck out 2 games there, fair play. They'll be sunburnt and drunk by the time they get in the car, I'm sure. But it was a good afternoon, really well looked after here. And for us, it's a different format. I mean, the alternatives to that are that we play 2 games on the same day at split venues, or we go Friday and Saturday, and really we'd rather try and get it all done in one day so everyone's on the same training plan. So it's worked quite well for us. We played here against Brentford last year, and it's good for St Neots to make a few pound out off the gate as well and behind the bar. So yeah, pleased to help them. And from our point of view, yeah, everybody now, we get to the end of week 4, everybody's had the same sort of match minutes. Most players have trained every day, so we're in a good position going into next week.
Yeah, just the final one on the new recruits, Brandon Hornstrop and Sekou Jana. How do you feel they're shaping up now?
Yeah, both settled in well. Obviously a little bit behind on our schedule. So Sekou was training with Bristol City's 23s, so he'd started his pre-season but with a 23s team before joining us. Brandon literally walked on the bus to Cardiff. That was day 1 for him, jump on the bus and travel for the day, and he's missed the first couple of weeks of pre-season not being in the club, so he's that little bit behind in terms of not had the same exposure, but he's trained every day and played all those minutes with us since, so we're trying to catch him up quickly. And I think in both cases, anyone who joins the team, it takes a little bit of time to just adjust to the principles of our game and how we want them to play those positions, so that's natural that takes time, but character wise they've settled in really well and both showed some nice signs.
Thanks, Mark. I'll let you find some shade.